Hi, ladies and gentlemen, this is Eddie Marcus again. I was trying to get some sleep, but I failed. I couldn't get it. The reason I couldn't get it is because I'm thinking about, as I am always, thinking about you, the people. But it's not a positive thing that I'm thinking, it's a very sad thing. I think about human beings, not just the ones that are living today, which they say represents around a few billion, but I think about people probably since they've been on this earth. And my imagination can't even begin to come up with an answer for what that number might have been. But what I can imagine in my head, based upon what I have seen during these few years of my existence on this earth, whoever made human beings and put them on this earth must feel very, very sad about what was done. You think about that power who I think created everything. Maybe didn't, but enough for us to say that we are on an earth that we didn't create, and an earth that represents a lot of things that we had nothing to do with as far as creating. We benefit from it, but as far as its creation, no. You think about the resources and everything. I'm always saying this stuff because you can't deny it. Those resources that have been made available so that we as human beings can do the things I recognize that we do today. So I must imagine that it has always been that way. But the thing that gets me really, honestly, that really gets me is it didn't require much of us to participate in what was going on. The earth was here and it's here, it's still here. The rivers run, the seas run, the trees grow, the sun shines, the moon shines, and the stars glitter. It seems as if everything that we had nothing to do with seems to be magnificent, doing exactly what it is supposed to do. And we, the people, we have the instincts to be just as obedient to the system's design as maybe the tree. But one thing that was given different is that we were given choice. I don't think the tree was given choice. When the seed was planted and we got the necessary ingredients, it came straight up and does what trees do. Give shade, helps with the oxygen, I believe, help us to breathe, help the earth to be beautiful. And then I think about we, one who have been given choice. It seems as if our concern is to destroy, always to destroy. We do all the negative things. We lie, we cheat, we steal, we kill. Why do we do these things? Is it because it's the opposite of peace? Because it's the opposite of prosperity? Because it's the opposite of joy and happiness? And it appears that maybe we think it's the opposite of living our dreams. Or our dreams for some is to really experience that without pain and suffering, while for some it's just cannot be received without the pain and suffering. For me, it's just a sad thing to know that we're only given a few years here. I've been given more than I ever thought I'd get, and I'm still here. And the only justification I can really say for still being here is what I'm doing now, sharing with you what I have learned since I've been here, hoping that it will help, but basically knowing it won't. At least that's the way history reflects it. I think about those who have not cared about anyone and all their interest and emphasis is to cause pain, to cause suffering, to deceive, to terrorize, and to kill. And I know that there are many of us who are not interested in doing stuff like that at all. You know, if you're having any problems in America, thinking about it, all you have to do is look at what is going on every day. I think about how during the political process, I've heard people run for office talking about your education free health care that's really taken care of like some other nations. People get health care, don't have to worry about, even though there are people who don't have nothing and they're running from place to place trying to find something. But I still heard people talking about a peaceful life, a wonderful life. But it doesn't seem to do anything because those people that talk about a wonderful life and stuff like that are people who have really deceived everybody else, exploit everybody else, and causing so much pain for those who don't have anything. It's a sad statement, a very sad statement. They tell me one time it was so bad that the Heavenly Father sent a flood and wiped everybody off the earth, except maybe a few. And I've heard it prophesied that it's supposed to happen again, this time not with water, but maybe with fire. But we don't know whether that is true or not. And still, we don't know if we got any control over that. Even though it has been said that we could straighten up our ways and recognize the truth, that we would be spared any hardship that would be coming from to us outside of us. But it appears that we can't do it. I look at the president of the United States, and to me, the way he acts, now this is just to me, I don't know how he acts to the rest of you, but he acts like a demon from the pit of hell. He acts as if there's nothing good about him, nothing that can come out of his mouth that's legitimate. He acts like he's competing with the devil, with Satan, for to be the master of evil. And I watch people who look to be intelligent, people who look to be smart, of all nationalities, if you can call it that, who submit and break down and give in to be just like that evilness, to be instruments, should I say, of that evil. Oh, it is ugly. It is a sad statement. Very, very sad. And I think that there should be something that would change this, dissuade, if that's a word, what's going on. But that's just a thought. Because for all of the evil that's going on in the world, it appears that those who are not for the evil give in to the evil by accepting it, closing their eyes as if there's nothing that they can do about it. I look in America, have a certain portion of the population is just sick of the evil that's running around. But I recognize that all those people who seemingly can't stand it are allowing it to happen. And one group of people who have been set aside, calling themselves connected with God. Some call themselves Christians, and they got other names that they use. And it's supposed to be about a continuation of the same thing. But the truth of the matter is, nothing has stopped this evilness. Nothing has stopped this devil force. Nothing. Nothing. And on my mind right now, I'm thinking about the church, because I don't know about churches all over the world. I've heard a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but the churches in America. I heard that a guy, Don Lemon, I believe this was in Minnesota, I'm not sure, followed some protesters into a church. And I don't really know the details of it, but I heard he was interviewing people in the church and people who were protesters who went into the church. And I'm thinking about the people on the outside were protesting because the system has caused them pain. It's caused them suffering in a country that says you have certain rights. They didn't just throw you out there. They say you're guaranteed these rights. They call it a democracy, something like that. And yet while these people are outside saying to anybody that will listen, we are hurting, we are tired of the demonic forces that are running over our lives. We are tired of people just mistreating us, abusing us, and killing us at their leisure. And right outside a church, there were people inside of a church playing like they were talking to God, playing like they were worshiping someone, while the work of God was needed outside to support those who wanted to kick down evil. But rather than come outside and stand together with what they were protesting about, they decided to stay inside. Now, what benefit was God doing them sitting inside? Somebody say, well, he was saving their lives, keeping them from being beat over the head with ISIS. And that was actually saying they were giving ISIS the okay. Do what you got to do to them, but don't come in here. And the people will go inside and say, this doesn't make any sense. Who do you represent? Why you can't come outside with us? And the reporter goes in to see what's going on, to observe what's going on, and to report on what's going on. And then the demonic forces get pissed and say, we got to find some way to bring them down. We got to find some way to make them, to force them to honor Satan through the Republican Party, to honor Satan through MAGA, to honor Satan through Trump. And now they want to try to cause him pain. But just the other day, they were killing them, shooting a woman in the face, killing another man like it's nothing. And this is what we have to deal with. Well, for me, I can't stand it. If I had the power, I believe I'd do something about it. I'm not going to speak too fast because I'm not God. And I may say something that God does not like. But it is a sad statement. Trump and his children, what are they? Are they just split representations of the devil? I don't hear anybody saying one thing about any child saying, Dad, stop. Not one saying, Dad, go sit down. I don't hear any of that. They're just smiling and grinning while they're ripping off people and stealing from people and connecting with people to get what they call money. And we all know that that's a tool that's used to promote the devil's work, because God has given us everything that we can imagine that we won't need or desire, and it doesn't cost us a penny. The only thing we do is find something that we love doing. He will match it with joy, and it will be a life that promotes nothing but heavenliness. And yet we turn our back on that, because that will not allow us to hate. That will not allow us to be a racist and a bigot. That would not allow us to be an agent of the devil. I was just in there thinking that what happens when I say this, if the devil comes and say, I'm tired of that mouth, I'm going to close it down. All I can say, if God says, okay, brother, I'd rather die this way than from sickness or some disease. Oh my God. I can imagine how I feel when I see people who really are going through some terrible things, going through some terrible times, and I know they don't want to go through those. When I see them, I see myself in a position like that, and I know I can't stand it. I don't want it, and I don't want to see people going through things that like that. I even tell God, I know I have no control over people being sick. I have no control, except I know that God made it possible so that people, I heard one time people say God made you so you can heal yourself. But I know most of us don't know anything about that. And not knowing anything about that, God made it possible so that we could have physicians that could treat us when we are sick. But rather than treat us to the point of curing us, they treat us just to keep us relying upon them so they can continuously find some way to con us and rip us out of money so they can have more, so they can have what they call the good life at the expense of people that got nothing. This is a sad day for me, a very sad day. And the only thing that I can do about it as I'm doing right now, is to share with you what I see you doing. I would like to ask you to stop, and I'm not dumb enough to think that you'll do that. So I just leave that up to you. It's really, really, really sad. And you got murderers, people in various countries who decide that the way they can have power is to take a gun and bullet and make sure that everybody knows that they will kill anybody that stands up against them. And this is how they got their power, by threatening and forcing and killing and don't give a stink about any of it, as long as they don't die in the process. It's a sad statement about the human race. If you ask me, it's a sad statement about the human race. And God made the human race not to be a sad statement. I'm sure of that. But by giving choice, kind of gave the responsibility to we, the people, to decide what we want to do. And what we have chosen is what we got. And there's no one to blame but we, the people. We, the people. People who were talking about God while they were lynching other people. People who were talking about God while they were stealing all of the resources from other countries, leaving those people with nothing, and then trying to badmouth those people and call them nothing and put them down because they don't have anything. And the reason they don't have anything is because what you've done to them. Talking about the millions that we have in prisons because you've created a situation where they felt that the only way that they could hang on was to commit and act in such a way that they did something that you created, and then put the laws to say that if you do it, you'll go to jail. So you couldn't come up with a solution because a solution means you had to fix stuff. And there was no way you're going to fix. And when you're bringing in stuff that promotes going to jail, bringing in drugs, bringing in cocaine, bringing in weeds, then making it a law that you can't mess with it, knowing that you're going to get it, and then building jails and saying, privatize it so people can make money off these other specimens called human beings. It's a sad statement about the human race. You as a human race should be ashamed. You as a human race should be ashamed of yourself. There's no difference between you and a four-legged animal or a snake sliding on its belly. Man, that's something else. I think I'll just leave it there, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'll just leave it right there. Now, I know it's not going to do any good, but it's something that had to be said, had to get it outside of me and try to focus it where it should go or where I want it to go. I know still there will only be probably somewhere between 5 and 10 views of this based upon the subject, because evil wants to disassociate itself from anything that would cause it to see itself, to identify itself the way it is. But in honor to that which created me, I do this. Goodbye.